What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including WWE finally admits it has a problem, Stephanie McMahon rates her kiss with Kurt Angle, news on Jimmy Uso's in-ring return, Sami Zayn's Backstage Meltdown, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into the first news. Now our first news looks at WWE finally admitting it has a problem. Now this week's edition of Raw's record low rating is still being talked about, with fans and pundits alike wondering how the WWE will respond. There have been lots of rumors going around about how the USA Network reacted to it, with one source claiming the WWE was told to adopt a more violent product, while others claim the USA Network is still letting the WWE right its own ship. But what of the WWE itself though? How is the promotion responding to the ratings crisis? Well, it seems that WWE aren't making any more excuses, and they've acknowledged there is a problem. According to Dave Meltzer, this did not come to one of those. Nobody was fooling anyone or trying to make excuses. It was like, yeah, this is bad. What that means, I have no idea what that means of how they're going to change it. The story that USA Network said they wanted more adult or dark content, that's just not true. Were they happy with the rating? Of course not. There's an expectation of what Raw is supposed to do, and it just wasn't that. And it seems that WWE has already implemented some change by bringing in this Firefly Inferno match. According to Ringside News, the match was booked because, according to the source, it was new and different. Ringside News' Steve Carrier also tweeted that the idea is locked up right now, but we've been told something very interesting reasons behind it. Creatively, WWE needs help. Now, WWE's Raw ratings are known for fluctuating, but it can't afford to draw low numbers like this if it wants to renew its rights deal with the USA Network for the same amount they're currently getting, rumored to be around $265 million per year. Next up, a Jimmy Uso injury update. A good news for fans of Jimmy Uso, as Jimmy's highly successful twin brother Jay recently spoke to Pro Sibian Max about Jay's return. Definitely soon, January, February I'm gonna say. He's doing good, Us. You know, he's been watching me every week, inspiring him. You know, he's calling me after every SmackDown telling me what I did wrong. What was dope, just everything being a brother man. I just can't wait to have him out here on the road. Jay's timetable for his brother's return is on par with previous discussions, but as fans know, they should take everything a wrestler says with a grain of salt, as Jimmy could be ready for a return and possibly even show up tonight. Whatever the case, it'll be interesting to see if the Usos go back into tag team action or Jay continues his singles push. Would you guys like to see the Usos back together? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Stephanie McMahon describes Kurt Angle's kiss. Now, fans familiar with the Attitude Era will remember the storyline that featured a developing love triangle between Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, and Kurt Angle. While the WWE prematurely pulled the plug on the angle, no pun intended, it's still remembered for the time Kurt Angle kissed Stephanie. However, how was it? Well, Kurt Angle told Stone Cold Steve Austin what Stephanie thought of the kiss, and according to the WWE's Olympic hero, he didn't earn any medals. Appearing on the Broken Skull sessions, Angle said Stephanie told him he kisses like a fish. In his defense, Angle was in a tricky situation as Papa Vince was present when Kurt applied the Angle lip lock on Stephanie. Kurt recalls that Vinnie Mac was directing the segment, and Angle gave Stephanie a closed-mouth kiss, undoubtedly making it as unromantic as humanly possible. Next up, the WWE didn't actually plan on Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns at TLC. Now, according to Dave Meltzer, this main event level match was not even planned. He commented, with Kevin Owens this month, it's not like they had planned. I mean, you can look at how Kevin Owens was booked and see that there was no plan for Kevin Owens. The problem was that they had no babyfaces on that side. Now, Meltzer raises a good point, is that the Universal Championship picture is suffering from a lack of strong babyfaces. Both Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan have been booked inconsistently in the last year, so they do not seem like main eventers. Rey Mysterio could feud with Reigns at some point, especially if his program with Seth Rollins is actually finished. As for Big E, he's not quite at the level of Reigns yet in the fans' eyes and would need several months to book him as a strong opponent. Arguably, the biggest problem is that the WWE doesn't know who Reigns is going to face at WrestleMania, and it doesn't want to burn out the fans on a particular program going into this year's Showcase of the Immortals. For example, if the WWE started a Daniel Bryan vs Roman Reigns feud now, fans might be bored with it by Mania, forcing the WWE to go with a weak opponent for Reigns. Thankfully, the WWE has done a great job building up Owens vs Reigns, with both Owens and Reigns' mic work adding considerable depth to the feud. However, if the WWE wants to continue Reigns' so far excellent run as champion, they will need to make sure he has strong opponents lined up. Next up, AJ Styles was backstage meeting with McMahon about Twitch. Now, the WWE's recent decision to order its wrestlers to either leave Twitch or turn their accounts over to the WWE for the promotion to profit off has led to different reactions ranging from outright refusal to comply, such as the case with Zelina Vega, to wrestlers just going along. According to AJ Styles, he recently had a meeting with Vince McMahon about the situation, coming to an apparent understanding. Styles told Inside the Ropes about what happened. Myself, Xavier Woods and Sasha Banks had a sit-down meeting in Connecticut with Vince about this whole situation, and it was determined that it's intellectual property. Points to his face. Well, we do well as far as the WWE, and if there's an opportunity to pay back that money that we worked hard for in the different times, then we probably should. I wasn't happy about it, no one was, but it is what it is. I'll handle it the way I have to. I'm a team player, he's the captain. I'll follow his lead as far as Vince is concerned. With high-level stars such as Styles and Banks going along with Vince's edict, undercard wrestlers will have less support from the WWE's major players. Next up, a match has already been set for the Royal Rumble. Now, believe it or not, the Royal Rumble is coming soon, and there's already talk of at least one match on the card. Meltzer discussed the WWE's plans for a possible match at the 2021 event. He mentioned the Lashley vs Riddle US title that's been pushed at least during the middle of the week was slated for the Rumble and not TLC, but everything changes every day. The Royal Rumble event traditionally sells itself due to fans' interest in the men's Royal Rumble match, along with the women's too, so the WWE may not feel as much pressure to book a big match, instead looking for marquee matches that might bump Raw's ratings. Unfortunately, the question of whether or not Riddle vs Lashley will draw it is something the WWE won't know the answer to until it airs. And finally, Sami Zayn's Backstage Meltdown. And last but not least, what do Tom Cruise and Sami Zayn have in common? Well, it would seem like both artists like to go off backstage when things don't go their way. In Cruise's case, he was recently captured on tape going off on Mission Impossible 7 crew members who violated COVID-19 safety protocols, going off on a tirade. Cruise's outburst reportedly led to several staff members quitting, and not to be outdone, Sami Zayn went off on his own tirade after his Sammy Awards were hijacked by Biggie, as Biggie snuck his name into the envelope for Wrestler of the Year, surprising Sami, who expected to win every award, and with good reason, he'd selected the winners. After the embarrassing incident, Zayn lost it with the backstage staff, with Kayla Braxton conveniently recording the tirade for history. Zayn said, "Don't just apologize, tell me how the hell that happened out there. I'm putting food on your table, you're eating to me." The WWE likes to work its fans on social media, but this over-the-top parody of Tom Cruise's own real-life meltdown is one of the funnier things to come from the WWE, a reminder of how good Sami Zayn is at playing an obnoxious heel. But there you have it guys, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.